Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we realize we don't actually know how to land this thing. I'm Pete Mubbert.
I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Gerald Christopher St. Clotilda, patron saint of disappointing children. Porter.
Oh.
Wait, she disappoints the children, or the children are disappointing to her?
I don't know. I mean, if we're going the Catholic route, it's whatever is the most guilt. I think patron saint of disappointing. Like, I guess if you have children who are disappointing you, then you can pray for Saint Clotilda's intercession.
Huh.
I think that's how that works.
Okay.
Yeah. If you have
You like
children
bury
who are
a statue of her
disappointing
in the backyard and then your kids go away and stop bugging you?
Unless they're
I
interesting.
don't know. A patron saint of disappointing children.
That's a rough one.
Or maybe if you feel like
Is
you're
disappointing a verb or an
disappointing-
adjective?
Yeah.
Always an editor, Tommy.
Don't say that, because then people ask me grammar questions. I don't know
I love
anything.
that. I love that.
And I'm Scott Rosann. No, what?
Hey!
Oh, shit. Oh, what happened?
Hey, look here.
Oh,
Patron saint of wonderful guests.
oh,
Yeah.
That's right.
that's
Absolutely.
sweet. You guys. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, yeah. We're thrilled to
Totally.
have you
Thanks
back.
for coming back.
Yeah.
Should we talk about this movie?
Yeah, let's do. Let's talk
Sure.
about minute 77, which begins with a Zeppelin doing a 3-point turn, and it ends with a deleted scene of that fallen hero who looms so large in our imaginations and our hearts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 3-point turn, like, I kind of want to say, like, right out of the gate, this is a rare moment in these movies where something happens in scene that that actually takes us to the next piece. Most of the time with these movies, you get a big action set piece and it kind of resolves itself. And then there's one of these quiet scenes and it usually just ends with a quizzical line or a dead monkey or something. And then you get a hard cut to the next day or something like that, or you're someplace else in the story, and that's how the story moves forward. In this case, you get this nice scene that's a combination of father-son character moments and a little bit of exposition and plot and flavor, adventure flavor, and then the scene actually pivots, like literally pivots, and you watch the shadow move across the table, and the mood changes, and Indiana Jones realizes we're on to the next set piece. And that never happens in these movies. It's always done with
That is
editing,
cool.
and in this case, it's happening live before our eyes, which is really neat.
Wow.
that's
I can't think of
beautiful. I
another
love that.
instance where that happens.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and I can also remember reading a review of this when it came out, where it was one of the more high-minded, New York Times or New Yorker, not People magazine, where they complimented Spielberg's ability. They were like, "Oh, his filmmaking is so on point. He can show something. He can show something happening by just having a shadow move across a table." And they were referencing this, and I didn't. I was just so on this movie when it came out, and a lot of it didn't sit great with me on the first viewing, but reading that review after seeing the movie made me feel so much more comfortable with, like, yeah, okay, it's okay. Like, these are smart people who know what they're doing. And the Marcus thing isn't so bad. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. And that little remark by that reviewer saying that, like, just the change in a shadow, just watching a shadow creep across a table, made me think, like, okay, we're in the hands of a pretty masterful filmmaker. And it kind of helped me fall in love with this movie over the years. So.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Pretty fun. Did anybody know, by the way, before we leave this set piece, what is playing on the... First of all, I'll say one thing. The piano that's playing in this Zeppelin is right behind them. right behind
Yeah.
Henry Sr.'s seat. So it should be a lot louder than it is, but there's a crazy song playing on that piano.
The Imperial
know?
March. No, I don't know.
No, well,
It was earlier.
That's
right.
true.
It's like it's in some ways tied to what's going on screen. It's the song "Just a Gigolo."
Wow.
In a cocktail piano orchestration of it. It literally is that, and I've looked it up, and it's there it is. Yeah, they mentioned that it is, and that's actually
City Pop, City Pop.
Diddy Bop. Yep, and that actually was a Viennese tango song, according to some online thing. So it's true. It was a Viennese tango called Schöner Gigolo, Armer Gigolo. And it was about I'm going to practically just read it, but it was about an Austrian hussar in World War I, who was a cavalry officer, reminiscing about how great he looked in his uniform during the war and how reduced he is to have to be a dancer for money. Do what you want him to do.
Wow.
So it's this little song, and it didn't have "I Ain't Got Nobody" attached to it. That was something that Louis Prima added in the 50s, and David Lee Roth perfected in the 80s. But it is it's that little cocktail piano thing is just a gigolo, and they're discussing their adventures with a woman. So in some ways, it's a little like your Imperial March ushering in the villain.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I heard that. I was like, oh, it's probably something. I'll ask Pete. Then I forgot to ask. Then you got it.
And I forgot
Pretty much
to
every
find
minute.
out. So
It's
Kevin
probably
Scott's
something.
here. Yeah.
I'll get through this. I'll ask Pete.
I got a question
Hey,
I'm going to ask
speaking
you guys.
oh, no way. I was just going to, cage match.
Girl
I was
fight.
just going to ask you something.
The floor recognizes Pete.
Where are they supposed to be right now? Are they in Austria or Italy or Switzerland or Liechtenstein? Like where do you think they are that he says they're taking us back to Germany?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, where did they
Terre Haute,
land
Indiana?
in a little while?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you watch Close Encounters, it's those types of mountains.
Right.
Right.
I just figure it's like the Alps.
Yeah, it could be lots of countries, I guess.
Yeah,
but they sort of
I
end up
just
on the
wor-
like on the beach, right? So
Well, they're
right,
flying
yeah.
south.
yeah,
They're flying.
So
They're
neither
not
of
flying north, so they're not going over
Right.
the Alps. I don't think. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't major in
I
geography.
have no idea.
well, they're coming south from Berlin, so they would have, like, they could be going towards the Italian coast and flying over the Alps.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. That's right. Yes.
I wondered if, the turning around or taking us back to Germany, does the Zeppelin turning around symbolize a turning point for the Joneses' relationship?
No.
No.
No. They're taking us back to childhood. No.
Yeah, exactly. Germany,
Taking us
the
back to
strict,
Utah.
Utah.
Crazy household. Yeah.
That's very poetic.
I remember sitting in the theater. I think I said this before. I think I knew that there was a Pat Roach scene that was cut out, and I remember this cut from the exterior of the Zeppelin to like the inside the superstructure with the two of them felt really, really weird.
Yeah,
And it still feels weird to me now, but I don't know if it's because it felt like they actually cut the film with scissors and taped it right here or something. That like something was like really hastily taken out, and I'm sure that was mostly my imagination because I was expecting something weird,
but
like
I
something
think
to be missing.
I think it. I mean, it's not entirely clear the entire everything that happened in the scene. A lot of it's just rumor, but I think at this point, Pat Roach and this World War I flying ace are probably chasing them out of the cabin.
Right.
right.
Because they're hot on their heels, and as they run down into the framework of the Zeppelin, you can see there's a hatchway that they go down, and there's a hatchway behind them where the other biplane would have been.
Oh, right.
So, like, I think they
weird.
come down the stairs like hot on their heels and dive into the other plane.
Yeah.
Right.
This
I
is
love that we have proof that this is a Zeppelin and not a blimp.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We have that
There's a rigid structure or whatever.
infrastructure. Yeah, exactly.
Rigid structure, right?
The
kind of structure.
This,
You guys did a whole hour on that already, right?
I'm sure we did.
yeah.
Yeah, rigid structures. Yes.
I remember a nightmare like that, yeah.
The sign over the walkway says "Stay on the walkway."
Yeah, it does. Do not leave. Do not leave the catwalk.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
follow Google Translate says do not
Yeah.
leave the catwalk.
that's funny.
Laufstig nicht verlassen.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah. Reminder, you're in a Zeppelin.
No smoking.
is the "Stay on the catwalk" emblematic of Indy and Henry's relationship? I'm totally just making up
Go ahead,
nonsense.
Tommy. Say no.
No,
Say
I-
no,
it
Tommy.
doesn't.
Say no.
No. Oh, Pete,
Say
that's
no.
brilliant. Why can't you be more like Pete, Jerry?
Only
Notice
in the
that the
path of the neglected son will you leave the catwalk.
Notice that the colors
But I
are
actually have a
muted
question
gray.
for you, Pete.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh, I just noticed
go
that the
ahead.
colors are muted gray, which are symbolic of drudgery and
No, I think you're right though, Pete. Stay on the catwalk. I'll pick up that ball and run and score a touchdown right now. Damn it! I think it is. I think it is emblematic because there's only that's how narrow a road it is to actually have a relationship with Henry. You have to stay on the catwalk. That's it.
Yeah,
You basically
that's it.
have to talk about the one thing, and that's it.
yeah.
Anything else, you fall into being neglected, and I mean, basically, he probably is disappointed in you.
But then you're embraced by
close-
gravity.
You
The
die
Earth
a
holds you
gaseous
close
death.
way too quickly.
Everyone's
Yeah.
true
Yes,
father.
yes.
Gravity.
Right. Father Earth.
I don't. You know what? Pete, you hinted at this, and I'm dying to know. Explain this whole radio is dead thing. Like,
Yes, please.
Yeah,
well,
are they
I think
returning?
Indy must have broken it when he came out of the radio room wearing the steward's costume. That's why I was saying
But why
I think
is
he
it
broke
the radio room and not the kitchen?
Well, it says above the door radio room.
Okay, that explains.
It doesn't. I'm
Thank
still
you.
confused. Like why? Like what's he says? I think they would have. I thought it would have taken them longer to realize I broke the radio or something.
He says I thought it would take
Like, I
him a
don't-
lot longer to figure out the radio was dead.
I don't get any. So if he broke the radio,
Then they
I don't even
can't
know what to
radio
ask.
back.
I don't understand.
Well, like Berlin
so, okay,
can't.
so-
They can't radio and say, "Hey, the Jones boys are on the Zeppelin. Turn around, like don't fly."
But
off."
wait a minute. So here's the thing. Why is the Zeppelin turning around to go back to Germany? Are they just swapping dirigibles?
No, I think they.
Are they swapping radios?
No, I think at this
Like
point
what-
that
so
Pat Roach is, the Gestapo officer on board, has been sitting behind Indy overhearing their conversation, and I think he's like, "Hey, this is the guy," because that's why they chase him out then.
but that's deleted.
Right. But I think that's still.
Well, that's a problem.
yeah, that's really.
Yeah.
Weird. They could have just left out that radio business completely. I
Yeah.
don't know why they. It seems like they made a point of putting that in.
Although if they're
when
flying
if they-
all the way
I
to
don't
New
know.
Jersey, and they're only over Switzerland, it would probably be wise to turn around if they don't have a working radio.
Well, but that's what I'm asking. Are they just flying back to Germany to
swap out
swap
the radio.
dirigibles?
Yeah,
or
maybe.
to swap just like
Yeah.
we need to take another Zeppelin, or we need to we need to get another radio, or does the Zeppelin captain have some info that those malefactor Joneses are on board?
Wait, why did Indy even break the radio? If they were going to discover that it's busted and then have to go back to Germany.
Well, he probably thought it would be they'd be far enough out that it would be too late to turn around. Because if he
Or-
doesn't
well, wait,
bust
okay,
it,
so-
if he doesn't bust it, the Gestapo calls the Zeppelin like within 5 minutes and says, "Hey, you've got the Jones boys on there."
Wait a minute, but there's no Gestapo.
Well,
We're
you
not
got-
allowed to reference that. It's inadmissible. We're not allowed to.
No,
talk
I
about
mean back in
Gestapos here.
Berlin. I mean, okay, well let's.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean back
But
in
yeah,
Berlin.
Vogel got knocked out and
Yeah.
or
Yeah, and
chucked
he's
out of the
obviously
thing, and then he'd get on the
screaming and-
horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He
he'd be on
said
the
he was
radio.
going to
So-
get Indiana Jones or whatever he said.
Yeah, he said you haven't heard
All
the
right,
last
well,
of
wait
me.
a minute. But wait. So just hang on a second. So Indy walks the waiter back, and he goes into the radio room. Okay. And for some reason, and he either, whatever, he borrows his jacket or he clubs him over the head or whatever happens. Then he comes out of the radio room and he sees Fogel, but by this point he's already broken the radio and like beaten the guy and taken his uniform and his outfit, the whole thing.
That's what my guess was when we watched it. I don't know.
Okay, but he broke the radio also when he stole the guy's uniform.
He would have had to have, because if he hadn't, Fogel would have called within a minute of them taking off.
Yes.
I guess so. Yeah.
And so, but I mean, so, or is it, or is it like later, as somebody pointed out, they're sitting at a different table.
Yeah, they moved up to the balcony
after he throws
kind of
out
area.
Fogel with
so
the
some time has
no
passed.
ticket.
And
so some time has passed, and just he broke the radio like before he sat down and had this heart-to-heart with his dad. Or non-heart-to-heart with his dad.
Right. Yeah. And they've flown a ways if they're over mountains that big from Berlin.
So he just, at some point, he broke the radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my guess. I mean, he knew it was dead, so he either had to break it or unplug it or something.
And then there.
Well, he said he didn't say he broke it. He said the
doing.
radio's dead, so it's possible he just unplugged it, and the guy just plugged it in, and he got these people screaming into the radio like, "Come back, come back!"
Or they're they're just turning around to swap dirigibles or swap radios.
Yeah.
I guess. Or do they know that does anyone on the Zeppelin now know that the Joneses are on board?
Well, I think they have to, and I think maybe they just plug the radio in, because we're going to find in a minute that someone's going to come after them as soon as they leave the plane.
Yeah, I'm thinking
unless
about
that was sent from Berlin and that's been chasing him.
Yeah, unless that was. I mean, I don't remember the movie, but if that's true. So I mean, I always like, if Fogel's off, he's thrown out, then no one on board knows who Indy and his dad are. I mean, otherwise they'd like just walk over and arrest him or club him over the head, or.
Well, unless Berlin radios and says these are hardened criminals, dangerous, lethal guys, just bring them back quietly.
But the radio's dead.
Well, unless he just unplugged it, because he didn't say he broke it.
I hate
this.
Dead. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know why they put that line in. It's really weird. Like I was buying that the Zeppelin had to turn around, and somehow they got found out, and they have to get off and fly away in an airplane and have adventures.
Yep.
Why can't they just do that?
Wait, I just want to say, Pete, this isn't a rebuke, it's a regret. I'm yelling at you, and I'm not. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be yelling at you. I'm like, answer!
What's the show doing to us?
I know. How do you know it's not the kitchen? Because of the sign. So?
What kind of a Zeppelin keeps the radio in the kitchen? Jerk.
Exactly.
What's the matter with you guys?
Hi, Scott.
Hi.
Not in front of the
Still
guests, you
here.
guys.
I'm sorry.
What? What?
Because
I'm with you.
I don't do this anymore.
I already don't remember this.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's a perfectly fine line, a fine scene, and I like it all. It's just, if it's like,
don't get
if they
hysterical.
didn't have a
Good on
deleted
you,
scene, it's
all
just
right.
it's weird, and it's because there's a deleted scene. Maybe that would have been helpful.
You know what
that's
Jerry just did there? He just did the chipmunk stare.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Okay.
And we all buckled.
Well, now here, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about radios and Zeppelins? Okay.
Where's Pat Roach? You can't talk about him.
I don't like the way Pat Roach goes out here if they keep this scene in. Like, it's kind of funny, but it like the fact that the drunken World War I pilot just forgets to turn on the engine, they just plummet and crash.
Yeah, I'm shocked and disappointed that it wasn't, mano a mano fisticuffs with him and Indy.
Yeah.
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 Like, now I don't care about seeing it. I was thinking all these years, like, oh, we missed some cool, scrum chum action. And,
Why? I mean, why would you? And you know what that is? One word, and it's that same goddamn word. You know what it is? Gag.
Yep.
It's a gag. It's a
Yeah.
gag.
Yep.
It's just a gag. It's a family funny gag. Like, ho. It's like, come on, man.
They died a fiery death?
Yeah, and now we're doing that to Pat Roach too.
Yeah.
I mean, is nothing sacred?
Although, to be fair, I would say the propeller and the pulley pulling up the scarf are also kind of gags.
Oh, I don't know. The
Oh,
propeller's not
I
a
don't know. I don't know what kind of
Pretty
what kind of
grisly
what
gags.
kind of neighborhood you live in, Pete.
Some grim doings.
Shaker Heights, Jerry.
Oof.
Propeller's not a
I
gag.
got your nose. You can have it surgically
Got your
replaced.
nose. Got your nose with the propeller.
Was that really their rationale? Was that like, we'll drop him out of a plane this time, and the fans will be really happy about that? Like that was that's the equivalent of the bloody windshield and the bloody.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do they call that? That a typewriter has a
I
platen, I guess. Bloody platen, which is my Borscht Belt comedian name.
To be fair, they did cut it.
Yeah,
that's
So
true.
I will give them
They knew
give them
something.
props for cutting
Not
it, but I
canon.
can't believe it was written that way.
Yeah, it's
but
terrible.
it's consistent with sometimes the timbre of the movie. Like I could see that. Like I could actually see that being in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know if they filmed all that?
I think they did.
I don't know. Oh, you think they did?
I think they did because there are photographs.
Oh, there are stills. You're right.
Of,
I'm looking at a still right now.
of those actors
Yeah.
in costume for sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're right.
the strange thing is that there's no. I mean, I guess what they would have gone back and rebuilt the models to not have two biplanes on it and
Right.
because they shot all that
Yeah.
later. But
Right.
no, I think they staged all this stuff. I think.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at a still of Pat Roach standing on the catwalk going down to the biplane, his own
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah, I see that.
You know, I mean, you're telling me two things that are deleted: Pat Roach and a World War I flying ace.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we're setting up for like an amazing fisticuff dogfight rumpus.
But no.
Never.
They just fall down and go boom.
Here's a question. So Indy removes his glasses. Is this the first time we get a hybrid Indy? He's like part Marshall College, part lion tamer outfit. Because he's got no hat, glasses, and the Indiana Jones adventure costume on.
Wait, didn't we have
the necktie.
exactly that ensemble at Doug Henning's house? He had the glasses.
Sort of. Yeah.
I don't know if he had the coat.
He didn't have
though,
the necktie, I
jacket.
don't think, but.
No, he didn't have the necktie.
He didn't
but
have
he
the
also didn't have the
necktie.
hat. Oh,
Yeah.
it's similar.
Yeah. It really,
sit down.
my my indelibrium's off. It kind of messes me. I'm like, whoa, Clark Kent in a cape.
It's like when the Hulk stopped changing halfway through in that two-parter.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was he? Just like
He was
a
Hulk Banner.
pale shade of green or something?
No, he was like Bill Bixby with stuff on his face, but then for the long shots, he was like Lou Ferrigno with not a lot of stuff on his face. It was really weird.
I hate this. I want to quit.
I want to go home.
Well, Pete, I thought of you here because we do get a second. Come on, Dad. But it's not nasty and menacing.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe things are thawing between the Joneses.
Yeah. Well, I think
He's
they are.
concerned for his
maybe-
dad's safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as soon as
Yeah.
they get into the plane, Henry's just absolutely delighted this whole time. Like he's grinning from ear to ear.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't know you could fly a plane. Like he's having the time of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a few things on that actually. I went and looked at the script for the thing that they cut out, and they mention how when Henry sees the open hatch, he reacts as pretty much anybody would, with horror. Like, that's outside.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And he's
right.
a bookworm, and he doesn't share adventures, and he is about to he is in the bottom of an aircraft, and there's an open hatch, and he has a reaction to that, which is that he is frightened, and that would be right. So then when they do this, so it's like, all right, come on, Dad, and they go, and then it cuts to the underside of the plane, and I cannot believe how long. There's a really nice piece of Raiders music right here. The Raiders March really kind of is going.
Yeah.
It sounds great. Yeah. And it's an interesting thing. Oh, look at that. Oh, plane. Oh, okay. But it takes forever for them to get down that ladder. The camera's doing this crazy dolly, and there's no dialogue, and they're just climbing, and it's like 9.5 minutes of walking down the ladder until they get into the little cockpits, and then he says, "I didn't know you could fly a plane," and like, it's crazy. And all I can think is that they had nothing to cut away to. That basically they because you can tell it's doubles. They're not them doing it because they're clearly hanging from a structure and they're way up in the air. So to shoot it, so it's their doubles are climbing down the ladder and the camera is doing a big crane move, and
they have to wait for him to be sitting down,
right? Because
just closer to the plane.
Yeah, because they didn't shoot they wouldn't have shot a close up of Sean Connery nestling down in his little cockpit. So they had to wait for all that business to take place. And then he can deliver his lines. It's crazy.
You know what that's exactly like? It's exactly like that super weird shot in Star Wars when Vader says, I told you she would never consciously betray the rebellion.
And then he shakes his hand.
And he's like, we're just wiggling his hand for a minute or something, and they just hold on that for like a full hour and a half until Tarkin stops walking.
That's right.
And then they cut to Tarkin saying, terminate her immediately.
That's right. That's exactly what it's like.
And there's nothing they could do about it, even the special edition.
Right. There's nothing to cut to. They wouldn't just cut to a plant in the corner and then cut back. Yeah, there's no tightening.
Remember
so they had to go
that.
through that whole thing. It's crazy.
Well, so Scott, you said you found the script for this part. I'm looking at a storyboard here where somebody's feet have fallen through the bottom of a plane, and I don't know if that's Henry or if that's Pat Roach. Was that in what you read?
I think those are the storyboards for Christmas Vacation. So you're looking at the wrong movie. I don't know whose feet. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. I can't.
I can't see what you see.
And there's underneath.
I can only guess it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Pete seems to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. So what are you saying? I'm sorry. So there's feet that out of the bottom of the Zeppelin?
Looks like somebody jumped into the bottom. No, it looks like somebody jumped into one of the biplanes in the seat that Henry's in, and his feet went through the bottom of the plane. And so you see the feet dangling out of the bottom. And I don't know if that's Henry or if that's Pat Roach.
Ugh.
It looks cool. It looks very Flintstones. Like you see the feet are like
you
weird.
don't say.
You made Scott sad.
I hate that.
It's not in the movie. It's not in the movie.
It's not in the movie. It's not in the movie. It's good. Well, so Indy says fly yes, land no. Is that a Temple of Doom reference?
Yeah,
I was
think
going to say.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't. Why wouldn't he have taken specifically? Why wouldn't he have taken flying and landing classes? Or it sounds like he has taken flying lessons since then, but not landing classes.
Unless
No,
he's just
I
like,
think that's
I
kind
flew
of-
a little bit in Temple of Doom. Now I know how to do it.
No, I think that's
Yeah.
exactly what
I
he
think
was
that's- I think that's
referencing.
the
He's
joke,
like he had
yeah.
to fly for
Yeah.
like 6 minutes. He had to fly, but he didn't have to land. And so I wonder. So is Indy gonna fall out of the sky in the Alps, and there will be some little alpine village shaman somewhere,
Yeah.
with some chocolate
raft.
stones,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with some
Giant
chocolate
milk
stones have
duds.
gone missing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Odin
Is that
sent you to
how
help me
this
change my tire.
Odin sent you to help me. I mean, that's how this whole thing starts, right? Where was he actually? Where was he flying? Was he going to fly to Eskedron?
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. Or is he just flying to a train station somewhere?
He's just making it up as he goes. So
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it's not.
He totally,
Yeah, that
right
he
now
is.
he's just getting away.
Yeah.
He's just getting away, and then he'd fly, I guess, as close to Alexandretta as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Or well, I mean, he's looking for Marcus, or is he?
They might be
Is
flying
he
back
even
to
looking
Venice.
for-
Why
I
would
don't know.
they do
Yeah, I
that?
don't know where he's going.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah, why would they do that?
Well, it's close to Germany, and then he could get some kind of transportation to Iskandrin like Marcus did.
I mean, it's after he escapes the Zeppelin. Is his main goal is to reunite with Marcus?
Well, I think it's to get the Grail.
It's to the Grail, yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm asking. Or would he just fly? Like maybe he has the aerial view, and he's got he's got an aerial view of, okay, the canyon makes a left here. That looks like a crescent. He probably has the best chance of
We're in the
finding
middle of the dogfight. His father's
damn-
going, "That's it. That's it down there.
Hold still.
That's,
Looks
he's
just
got
like
like
my
the
drawing.
best.
Turn left,
Exactly.
starboard. What? I don't know what it's called."
That kind of looks like
11
a
o'clock.
crescent. We can. Yeah.
One of those crescent cookies, one of those Sara Lee cookies.
Why do they call them breakfast treats?
George, don't talk.
Eat. Screech.
I am
crash.
really, I'm really angry and upset that there is no wind in
That's
this
really-
scene
yeah.
at the end of this minute. There's
really
no
noticeable.
In the studio?
wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is but
two
you
guys
can't
wearing
get a
hats.
fan. You don't have a fan. A fan? I'm not asking for a Zeppelin. A fan?
Yeah.
It's really and like I said, I'm really done with movies. I don't notice when things are matte paintings. You know what I mean? I'm like, God, that looks amazing. I don't notice that at all. Here I noticed. It's like they're sitting there in a plane with everything exposed and there's no wind at all.
Yeah. Would it kill the audience? Are they being protective of the audience by not having them both just take their hats off, which would be a sensible thing to do?
Right.
And like stuff them, under their
Yeah.
legs or something for safekeeping while they're flying in an airplane,
Yeah.
an open air airplane. I don't know.
And it's stupid as hell.
It's just
I don't know.
it's if I notice it, it's egregious. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well,
You're expecting to see a lot of wind when you're underneath a Zeppelin that's up in the sky. And
I don't know if you
into an
necessarily
airplane.
see a lot of wind underneath, other than wind at altitude, because the Zeppelin's not going that fast.
it's
Yeah, but
windy
you're up high.
there. It's
Yeah, it
gotta
is
be
probably.
windy.
Yeah, it's
windy.
gonna be
gotta
windy up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They cheaped
Yeah.
out in many more ways than one. Like you don't need to be a
we're
keen
just
viewer to
looking for
know
a
that
fan.
this is phony as all the day is long. Like this is it's a shame that there isn't more to this, because we're about to enter into the worst or most disappointing, I'll say, visual effects sequence in major summer blockbusters until Star Trek V came out
Right.
2.5 weeks
It's
after
not even
this.
that it aged badly. Like, I remember these looking awful then.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This took the cake for about 2.5 weeks, and then Star Trek V came out and beat it for disappointing visual effects. But there's a bad thing that's about to happen here, and
Yeah,
it's
ILM
bad.
couldn't work on Star Trek V because they were doing this, and it's bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and they couldn't work on this because they were doing Ghostbusters 2 or something like that. It's bad, like bad.
Are you guys talking? There's like a dogfight or something in there. I don't remember this movie at all.
Yeah, you'll see next week or later this week. or
Oh,
something.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think there's a little piece of it here where you get a little bit of each of the flavors of what you're about to see. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through it right now. So you've got a practical set underneath that Zeppelin with a giant silk behind them, so just this white field. So it's very overcast there, which is just a white silk. And then you've got this weird model shot of the Zeppelin, which is really not good anytime they show it. Even in the turning around, they're taking us back to Germany, and the first time you see the Zeppelin, there's matte chatter on that thing that like is just crazy.
Yeah.
It's like the thing is just hopping like, it looks like you're trying to watch it on Cinemax and you don't subscribe to Cinemax. It doesn't look good. and then
It's like color forms.
right. Well, that's the I was about to say that was the joke that my friends and I had for Star Trek V since the time it came out, which is visual effects by color forms. It's color forms fun because it really is these bad stuck on things. And then so you get
Right.
first you have a bad set, then you have a bad model shot, and then you have this beautiful shot of the plane, of an actual plane kind of like going over the Spanish mountains where they shot this.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
they can do it.
Yeah, well, and it's indicative of, and then you get as we close out the minute here, the worst kind of, it's blue screen, it's not back projection, but somehow they forgot to turn the lights on in front of the, it's as if the sky is only in behind them and not all around them. and there's like a little desk lamp lighting them up, in the front. But in the middle with that beautiful shot of an actual airplane, everything in the dogfight to come. Anytime you see real planes, you're like, oh, thank God. Oh,
Right.
real things
Like
can
a
fly.
cold glass of water.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit of each of those flavors as if to say, get ready. This is what's coming. And then he gives the thumbs up.
Yeah.
It's all going to be okay, kids.
It's all gonna be. You know what's really, really hard about this minute is we have a line that makes no sense at all because there's a deleted scene. And then if you kept the scene in, it would be awful. And so we have a real conundrum here. And you go back and you're like, but that line makes no sense. I would have loved that scene. Let's put that scene in. Oh, my God. It was awful.
Thank
Get
you.
rid of it. Scrub it out.
Yeah.
He's
I'll
gonna
take the
go,
record skip instead of like, what's supposed to be there.
Exactly. It's kind of fascinating.
Are we jerks? Are we not allowed to make fun of stuff that they didn't put in, and we should be, praising them for making that decision before it was too late to keep it out?
I think we're jerks regardless. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to know what kind of jerks we are.
Yeah.
Jerks. Jerks forever.
Some of the stuff it comes from. I'm not trying to be a jerk so much as some of it. I didn't understand why the Zeppelin would be turning around.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a legitimate question about that. Like, did somebody on the Zeppelin alert them, or or can they not just they just can't land without, they don't have a radio, so the Zeppelin can't dock. But then you're like, but then they're turning around, they're going to have to dock.
Guys, he's talking about the Zeppelin turning around to get in the radio.
I know.
I feel like what would have helped you if they had some kind of like a lady shaver that someone uses to calculate exactly how many midichlorians it takes to find out that they're on the plane and have to turn it around.
Oh, Pete.
I need a read
Well,
on how long it would take them to find out the radio was dead. It's off the charts. I've never seen a reading like this.
These minutes, you don't know where they're gonna go. You don't know where the minutes are gonna lead you. It's a lot like indie, making it up as you go along.
Yep. And speaking of making it up as we go along,
And cold and callous.
Aw, he was trying so hard to wrap it up.
I was.
No.
Stay on the catwalk.
Yeah.
I ended up in Jerry's gaseous envelope, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Well, speaking of gaseous envelopes, Jerry, is there anything else?
Yes. Speaking of making
Is the radio
Bummer
dead?
happy. This
the
just
radio's
in
dead.
from
We can't do
Professor
it this
Christy
time.
Porter.
The
Yeah, we
radio's
can't.
dead.
There's nothing. Yeah. You know what? This just in. Delete. Delete. There's a deleted missive here.
Oh,
forget
that's
it.
too bad.
No. Okay, this just in from Professor Christy Porter over the dead radio. What things do you wish you could do as well as your father?
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I know.
Do my taxes, I guess. My dad breezes through
Not
the taxes.
romance my mother.
Ugh.
Oh,
I said not romance, my mother. Not.
Right.
My
Right.
taxes,
You
I
don't want
guess.
to do that.
I think this
Romance
one comes
your
from
mother?
the. I didn't know you
Sure.
could fly. Yeah, he's Henry's really impressed that his son knows how to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that's not an answer to the question, though.
No,
God, I'm
I
tired.
think that's where this.
Yeah.
comes from.
these are hard
So
questions
sleepy.
lately. These are really hard questions.
Oh, okay. What do you
Yeah.
want?
When
Okay,
did
how
it go
about
to
this?
questions?
Maybe we
This
should break
just
the
It
radio.
used to be
But
funny
yeah.
jokes. What's this like?
Yeah, they
quiz
used to be
time?
little fortune
I don't
cookie
want the
quips.
pop
Yeah.
quiz.
Yeah.
How about this? This just in from Professor Christy Porter. What time is it?
Oh, it's like
that easier?
Well, no, because there's like 3 different time zones going on right now.
Oh, gee, all right. What's your favorite Indiana Jones color?
Orange. I don't know.
What's your? Who here likes the monkey? All
The
right.
monkey was
do.
good.
Scott, how would you wrap this up?
Oh boy. Oh man, come on.
How much of this episode would you cut out?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What kind of insert shots would save this?
This is like a long trip down a prop ladder into a biplane under a zeppelin is what this is.
We
With
just
nothing to
can't cut
cut
away.
to. There's nothing
Yeah.
to cut to. I told you she wouldn't consciously betray the rebellion.
Yeah. Basically, you know what? We tried this minute. We tried to fly, and we just pulled the lever and we dropped straight to the bottom.
Yeah. Landed right on Pat Roach.
We roached
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Yep.
And with no
roached it.
suitcases. No suitcases to break the fall.
Well, thank
Not
you,
this
Scott, for
time.
at least giving us a little bit of a soft landing.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
I actually had a lot of
This
fun.
was
This
So
was,
much
this
fun.
was a lot
This
of
was
fun.
a lot of fun. It's
And
always
before you get off the show, how did they find out about the radio? No, I'm just kidding.
They
No,
listen
thank
to
you
the
very much.
show.
Thank you very much for joining us. This was fun.
Thanks for having
And-
me.
Yeah. And House Hunters International,
Sometimes House Hunters International. Sometimes
check it out. Yep.
Amazon's Lore. There's all kinds of shows that I have fun making for you.
Well, I'm just going to watch a bunch of shows and imagine that you have edited them. You can find us wherever you normally find us and come back here tomorrow for minute 78 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
We're sinking like a Stones. How about this? How about
Fly
this?
yes,
You know what?
land nose.
Oh, there you go.
How about groans? Okay, groans.
Crohn's? Okay.
Groans.
Groans.